Welcome to Might in Motion, where we help you navigate your personal and professional goals to manifest them into your deserved career and life path. Here at Might in Motion, we don't make excuses, we do the work and go above and beyond. The Might in Motion podcast brings you guests that will help stretch you out of your comfort zone and push you to improve your goals. Like, comment, and share. This is Might in Motion.
Tonight, I bring to you Hector Daniel Chavez, the Tech Desk. He is the guy to go to if you have any questions about technology. He's been passionately immersed in technology and repairs ever since he can remember. He's honed the skills over 8 years of professional experience, and he's currently based out of Gulf Breeze, Florida, where he owns and manages the Tech Desk. He started his journey without a storefront, but now he's been able to be an independent businessman with a dedicated team of employees. He's come so far, transforming from a small rented space within a computer store to owning his own business location. His primary focus is on cell phone repair, but he's been exploring new ways and innovative ways to help people interact with technology more efficiently. He's fluent in both English and Spanish. He's hoping to relearn French. This is a continuous quest for learning that keeps him engaged and excited about everything he does. Hector, welcome to Might in Motion.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
What an exciting story. And you're truly living this really cool dream of building out your own brand and creating a following. And now you actually have a physical storefront. So can you give us like the 3-minute version of like how you even got here?
So it's funny because the company that actually certified me as a tech was reaching out to me, and back then, obviously we've had fake calls for a very long time. So I stopped answering the phone calls, and just if you don't leave me a voicemail, it's not important. That was my whole thing. I had submitted a resume online because I was in college at the time, going for a computer science degree, and I was tired of the restaurant industry. I'd been working in the restaurant industry since I can remember because my parents owned restaurants growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to, something more in line with what I was going to be doing. So I saw this opportunity to submit a resume and what I've done up to that point. And so they've been trying to reach me, and I hadn't answered. They hadn't left me a voicemail. And so finally they sent me an email. Hey, we're very interested in bringing you on. And I was like, oh, awesome. Yeah, okay. So they're like, we've been trying to reach you and you haven't been answering. I was like, well, did you leave a voicemail? They're like, no. I was like, well, why wouldn't you leave me a voicemail if you're actually interested? So long story short, they certified me. About 6 months later, this company was based uh, completely mobile. We would go to people's places or meet them, at a McDonald's or whatever that might be, and fix their device on spot.
Oh, wow.
And so the very first time, very first few times that I did something like that was absolutely terrifying because obviously people want to watch. They've never seen the inside of a phone. Oh my goodness, can I watch? Can I see? Can I look over your shoulder? And, at first I was like, no, like you can't because I barely know what I'm doing. But, as I continued into the journey, and I'm a pretty confident person. So as I went in, um, it stopped bothering me less and less to the point where even here and in my store currently, we fix everything up front. And from time to
Yeah.
time, I still have that person that says, hey, can I just come behind the counter and see what my phone looks like inside? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Come take a look.
Well, I think that's really cool because people are interested in that knowledge they don't have. You've got this knowledge that most people don't have, right? I would love to take apart this phone sometimes and just see what's in it, but I would never be able to put it back together. So, and even on your, what you do online as well, you're showing people the inner workings of something we all carry around with us every single day.
Yeah. And that's very interesting. I had thought about doing reels and videos online for a very long time and
Yeah.
never took the initiative. One, because I was stuck in a building where I really couldn't get comfortable and couldn't really have um, it would be more of a temporary setup rather than a stationary area where this is what I do and this is what I'm going to do in this area. So once I moved here into my own building, there were offices already made,
Yeah.
and because it was a insurance place before I moved in. So with the offices, I was like, wait a minute, one of these can become a recording studio. And it took me longer than I wanted to finally, take the time to actually build it out. But it's here. This is where this is where I'm at.
I love it because you're unlike me earlier. When we were in the green room, right? My lights were falling down, and like it was a little bit chaotic, right? You have got your own space, which is really really cool. Sometimes for me, it's just wherever I can grab a corner in my house without kids, right? And one of the things that we talked about is you're driving so much progress and momentum in your career. A lot of the folks that tune in, that's what they're struggling with. They may be in like an entrepreneur, so they may work for a big company, or they may be an entrepreneur. But how have you? What are maybe some tricks that you've done to start create momentum in your life to start achieving these goals that you've set out?
The main thing is taking decisions quickly. When I
Okay.
finally decided that, and acting on them, not just taking the decision, but acting on them quickly. So when I finally decided, hey, it's time for I called it the YouTube studio to go up. I mean, in a matter of a month, I had it done.
Yeah.
Cameras, lighting, painting, taking down uh, texture off a wall and stuff like that. I just kept going, kept going, kept going. Now, did it take me a while to finally record my first video? Yes. After that, it took another month, but it's just kind of like just taking action on the decisions that were made.
Right.
Because the quicker, even if it's the wrong decision, the quicker you act on it, the quicker you'll realize, oh crap, this wasn't right. So let's start all over again.
Yeah, that fail fast is what I call it, especially in
Yes.
corporate America, sometimes people get just stalled out, right? They don't want to make a decision. They're frozen by fear or frozen by wanting to overanalyze every single data point. It's usually not in a situation where you're a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon, right? So just make a decision and move forward with confidence. If it's the wrong one, you're going to learn from it. You're probably going to learn a heck of a lot
Yes.
more than the right decision being made out the gate.
Exactly. And so and the thing that we have to think about is even if it was the wrong decision, there is still valuable information and
Yes.
lessons to be learned, right?
Yes.
And we're so scared of failing and we're taking the wrong decision, not realizing that if we do take the wrong decision, if we do fail per se,
Mhm.
we're still learning and
Yeah.
it's still forward progress.
Do you think that sometimes that indecision to make a decision is a fear of that imposter syndrome?
Oh, definitely. Um, so right now I have two people that work for me, and my wife met one of the employees yesterday, and I got it almost immediately. It was like, who do I think I am? Like,
Mhm.
who do you think I am? I'm like, I'm. Am I really a business owner? Like, do I really have employees? Am I really making progress? And it's like, no. I have to kind of like go back in my mind. It's like, yes, this is what we're moving towards. This is the team that we want to build because I need, opposed to working in the business, I need to work on the business, building the Tech Desk brand,
Yeah.
um, not only here locally in the community, but also online.
Right, because I think there is such a need. What you've created kind of this, I don't wanna call it a niche, but you've created this environment where, number 1, people can tune into your channel and learn, right? And then feel
Yeah.
empowered to go and do things with technology that maybe they had a fear of before, right? And
Yes.
number two, you're providing a service to others where if let's say they can't, right? They can still send you their equipment or send you their device or bring it into you and be able to move forward with what they need to do. And that's amazing to me that you're able to provide both levels of interaction with your customers.
So it's like that aspect of providing value to the customer. It has been very important, other than just repairing their items, right? Giving
Yeah.
them information that they might, like you said, empower them to do something on their own. And in different social media platforms, I have different age groups that follow me. On Facebook, it is a older generation that follows me, and you
Right.
don't know how many ladies tell me, "Oh my goodness, I didn't know anything about my iPhone until I started watching your videos, and now I can teach my grandson or my granddaughter, or I can just brag about the fact that I know how to do this."
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Having that customer service mindset. I'm in retail. I work for a very large retail company, right? You
Mhm.
spent a large part of your life before you did this working in the restaurant industry. How much of that customer service aspect do you think is driving your success today?
Oh, almost all of it, right? Because you learn so much being in the restaurant industry and having
Mhm.
that turnover. Because obviously, when you're serving tables and stuff like that, you experience that many different amount of people. Like you go through so many more people serving tables than you would do maybe here, repairing phones. In
Mhm.
any given day, if I work a full day at a restaurant, I'm serving 50, 100 different tables. And here, maybe 15 to 20 different people come in throughout the day. So, yeah, you develop not only multitasking, but learning how to deal with all sorts of scenarios and different types of personalities all on the fly.
Yeah, it's like crisis management that you're dealing with. It's not just serving food. You're dealing with everything that comes along with it.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, so do you ever, as you're kind of building this brand, right? You are creating, I think we talked about this in the green room, right? A trust factor, right?
Correct.
Trust between you and your current clients, but potential clients. How do you go about developing trust with others when maybe their interaction with you is limited?
That's been one of my hardest tasks so far. Um, Figuring not only trying to figure it out, but
Mhm.
also trusting myself and my skills that I'm available to do it. Once again, that imposter syndrome comes in. It's like, who do you think you are giving these people advice on how to use their phones? Like, and it's like, no, no, no. I've used smartphones for ever since they came out. I work on them on a daily basis. um, I give advice to people that come in the door. So why can't I do it online? I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I am perfectly qualified to
Yeah.
do that.
And you've got the chops to back it up, right? I think
Yes.
a lot of times, people, they're online and they're spouting something. It's like, well, what have you done? What have you built? What are you really bringing to the table? But everything that you're showing and how you're communicating, like you said earlier, with different age groups and different platforms, you're creating that. You have a voice and a face, and that everybody's seeing that, right, on a daily basis, and that is going to build that trust with your clientele.
That's it's amazing how something like that works. And you know and then you kind of like kick yourself in the butt because you're like, oh, I could have been doing this for X amount of years. No, it
Yeah.
wasn't time yet. I wasn't ready yet. And I go back and look at some of my very first videos, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's embarrassing. I was like, and even now, I don't like when I'm editing the video or anything like that. I don't like listening to myself, but definitely going back to like the very first few, or very a lot of them actually. You just look, I've made progress. I've gotten
Right.
better, and you
Right.
have to get comfortable with the fact that you are gonna be bad at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, and as
Yeah.
I move into making longer format videos, I'm going to be bad at the YouTube videos.
Hmm.
The very first video that I recorded, I didn't blink once on the edited video, and I'm like, oh my goodness, somebody pointed that out, and I was like, something so simple, but I was so focused on trying to communicate and just do everything right that apparently I didn't blink.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. That is so awesome. I find myself I'm looking off somewhere else completely different, so but being able to critique yourself and then pivot and focus on how do you improve that. That's huge. Like especially I think of that liken that to public speaking, for example. There are many times where I might be on a stage or I might be, on a meeting like this. You can't focus on everything. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to make sure I change my tone and I'm going to make sure that I enunciate clear and I'm going to make sure I blink, right? Just pick
Correct.
one thing and focus on improving that one thing. And when you've got that as a natural reaction, then you move on to the next one,
Exactly. Small baby steps to try to make everything better. And yes, it's like if you try to concentrate on everything at once, guess what? You're not going to do any of them right. It
That's
just like
correct.
as you develop that experience, well, that's all becoming more natural and normal to you, and you don't even have to think about it anymore.
So when we were in the green room as well, we talked a little bit about don't let anyone impede your progress. You said this and I was just like, "Oh, my mind blown." I love that phrase. I love what it just means, right? Don't let anybody get in your way, but that anyone could be
Yes.
yourself, right?
Oh my goodness, absolutely could be yourself. So for the longest time, I would tell myself, my wife has a bachelor's degree. My wife wants to go back to school. She wants to, she's a nurse, so she
Mhm.
might want to go back and get a master's degree, and I just have to take, the back seat. And
Mhm.
it's like that was the complete different, like wrong mindset to have. Because no, I can grow as she grows, and she can help me grow as I can help her grow. Yeah, it's going to be chaotic, and it might be chaotic. And we have a 2 year old, soon to be three, and we have a baby boy on the way. So it's like, yes, it might all be chaotic, but I can't keep taking the back seat as an excuse, right? I'm using that fact that
Yeah.
she has a profession. She is a nurse, and I never finished college, so I should take the back seat and not make any forward progress.
No, you gotta get out of your own way, right? And
Exactly.
people love to make excuses, especially when you mentioned chaos, right? I'm currently in constant chaos. We had a flood in March. It is now May
Oof.
when we're recording this, right? In our house. So I'm shoved in a guest room with like all kinds of stuff. Like beyond this, it's chaos. Right. And I am just like, okay, I can either wallow in it and complain about it and let it stop me from being able to have these interactions with like you and others, or I can just power through it.
Yeah.
And when you take that opportunity to power through, you actually start realizing it is an opportunity. That chaos actually helps you grow faster.
So in the middle of my move to my current location, I'd been suffering from back pain for like 6 months. Six
Mhm.
months. They were had me on different medications to where the point where they gave me an antidepressant slash nerve medication that just completely like kicked my butt. Like
Yeah.
I was non-existent. I was a zombie, and all that to say, I was at that computer shop knowing that there was not going to be any progress, knowing that there was no room for growth. And
Mhm.
even in the middle of that chaos, I took the decision I have to get out of here and I have to start my own location.
Yeah.
So, because we make thousands of excuses. We, whenever I was about to move out, COVID hit. And then I was like, oh, well, I can't move right now because who knows what the economy is going to do, whatever that might look like. Then we had a hurricane, took down a bridge here locally where it just completely destroyed the economy right around in here because people were having to take a completely different route to go into the other towns. And then I was like, well, I can't move right now because the bridge is down. And then we had our baby girl. I was like, well, I can't move right now because I don't want to be, you know, financially not stable with a newborn.
Yeah.
And so you just keep making excuses. And eventually it's like, if I don't pull the trigger right now, I'm never going to pull it.
Correct. That goes all the way back to our initial conversation, right? Of move faster. The key word is that is move. When you stay
Move.
stuck, nothing ever changes, and you end up with just a compounding another issue, another issue, another excuse, another excuse.
Average is so easy.
It is.
Average is so easy and so comfortable that we just want to stay there.
Mhm.
And that's one of those things where I just kind of have to like keep reminding myself, I wasn't born to be average. And that's a true belief that I have. I wasn't born to be average.
Yeah.
So I want to make something great. And I think this is the start of it.
Well, I think the fact that what you wanna do is about helping others and serving others, that just means that you will have even greater momentum towards your goal. 'Cause
Exactly.
there's a selfish aspect, we all wanna succeed, right? But it's also that
Yes.
that serving aspect that you're doing.
And that's one of the main things that I like about creating the reels, right? Creating the short
Mhm.
format videos. I do feel like I'm helping somebody, and people that I didn't even think that I was gonna help. And I read the comments, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even see it in this way when I made this video that I was gonna help this type of person, and it blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. We I keep on saying we talked about this earlier, but we did. Just about like, being able to the one you did this week or last week about being able to change your keyboard left or right, and I there's people in my life that can only use one hand. So like being able to be like, "Hey, did you know that you could do this?" was just like cool. I'm able to help somebody else. I look smart, which I love. But like I'm able to help somebody that had no idea that that was something you could do, and it's so simple but so powerful for a whole segment of the population that maybe didn't even know it existed, which is really cool.
Exactly. Because there's so many features in these things that, like, personally, I'm sure that I don't know a good 30 to 40% of the features that the phone has.
Yeah,
But as I keep searching and going like that, I'm like, oh, I'll keep finding out things. And as soon as I find something else I think it's cool, it's like video right away.
that's awesome. Just hit send.
Yes.
So, if you could go back in time and talk to Hector from 10 years ago, what advice would you give him?
I think I would just tell him, remember that you weren't born to be average. Because
Mhm.
I feel like during high school and stuff like that, my motivation was sports. So I always thought I'm gonna either have a break in football or either gonna have a break in soccer. One of those two is gonna take me somewhere. Um, but it's also when you have a certain talent, maybe you don't put as much effort.
Yeah.
And the difference between me making it and not making it was that effort that I needed to be that I needed to apply there. So it's just telling them you weren't born to be average. So work your butt off.
Yeah.
Just keep working.
Yeah. And as you're raising kids, right? And how do you like think about how you're going to help your soon to be two kids learn that skill early?
That is one of the things that I think about a lot. And it's like,
Mhm.
so what can I say? What can I do? And what I come down to most of the time is not what I'm gonna say, it's how I'm gonna live my life.
Yes.
So if they see me, hey, dad constantly goes to the gym, dad constantly runs, dad constantly when he says he's going to do something, he does it. When he's home, he's present. So it's
Hmm.
more of the actions rather than what I'm going to say.
Yeah, because those actions go so far, right? You hear your kids repeat what you're saying. At least I've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, right? And then when they say something that I've said a million times back at me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, you're right, like.
Exactly.
But you're also right, and they see what you do, right? Like we're riding down the road. My oldest can be like, "Oh, that's a flatbed truck, and that's a Moffat on the back, and that's the kind of product they deliver." And I'm like, "Yes, yeah,
Yes.
like we need more
Yes.
women in supply chain, yes, right." And but that's because she's seen it, she's lived it, she's heard the conversations, and that you open up your world to them. You being able to open up your world of what you're doing now is going to open their eyes, just like your parents running restaurants opened up your eyes on like
Yeah,
what hard work is.
exactly. And going back to I think you said women knowing what exactly did you say? Just
Oh,
you said
we need more women in supply chain.
okay. So kind of sidetrack here, but two things that I tell myself all the time because Heidi, my 2-year-old, um, two things that I absolutely want her to be able to do is drive a stick shift and be able to back up a truck. Like those two
Oh,
things,
nice.
as a father, I feel like those are two things that she's absolutely going to do because I don't want to ever have her be stuck in a situation where it's like, oh, so and so has been drinking or whatnot,
Right,
and I can't drive a truck. I can't
right,
back
right,
up a
right.
truck, right? Or so and so has been drinking, and whatever scenario that might look like, and his car is a stick shift,
Hmm. See,
right?
that's interesting.
So,
I can't do either one of those things, which is kind of sad. I did try to learn how to drive stick once and it ended a relationship, but so there's that. But I do know how to change a tire, which is, I think,
see, okay,
really
that
important.
I might have to add that to my list.
I think that's a really, even though somebody might come along to help you change the tire, having the knowledge of how to do it
Yes,
is really empowering. And I'm grateful for my father for that. And I know how to balance a checkbook,
there you
which is
go.
another one I think kids just don't even know
They
what a
have no
checkbook
idea.
is. But if
They
you
don't.
don't know how to balance your checkbook, you're not going to be able to run a business. You're not going to be able to understand what's coming in, what's coming out. So, those things
Or
they don't teach
you're
in
not going to be
school are
understand that
important.
you're in the red.
Yeah, right. Like you need to know. No, you don't want to overdraft that account. That's the problem. That's what that means. So I think those are great skills. I love that you already have that in your mind to teach your daughter how to have those skills because
Yeah.
it's those are really critical. So, well, I want to share with the group. I always like to end with how do you take action? How can people find you? And I know on Instagram it's the underscore tech underscore desk underscore. You're also on TikTok. Do you want to share with everybody what your TikTok handle is?
That is TikTok the underscore tech underscore desk without the last underscore.
Awesome. And then I'm sure everything is on your website, the techdesk.tech.
It
It's
is.
been amazing talking with you. Is the best way for people to reach you through kind of DMs or on your website if they're looking for tech support or just to learn more?
Tech support is probably going to be through the website. I have a little submit for support section there. So through the website, www.techdesk.tech, that's the best way because I'll get an email and those emails get answered.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure to get to know you better, Hector, and to get your message out there to this audience on how they can take that momentum, how they can get over their imposter syndrome and just take action. That's the first step. Just move. So I'm so excited to share your story with everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning into Might in Motion. If you learned something about motivation, momentum, mindfulness, or might, please like, comment, and share. Thank you.